David Adams here, the voice of the ring, and the following is a presentation of the Mancast Network podcast for the man in all of us.
Hey guys, it's the Princess of Pro Wrestling, SoCal Val from Fight TV, and you're watching Opinion City on the Mancast Network, and I am a proud Opinion City girl.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Opinion City Podcast, a professional wrestling podcast where we debate the hottest topics of the past, present, future, and beyond. I'm your host. My name is Ralph Landmarch. He's my co-host and tag team partner, and his name is Parma Sean Russell. This podcast is for you, the listeners, so please reach out to us via email at opinioncitypod@gmail.com.
Before we go any further, if you want to support the show, you can follow us at Opinion City Pod on all the socials. You can find links to everything that we do over there. You can follow myself at Parma Cheezel. You can follow Ralph at RealRalph316. If you like what you're hearing, like, rate, and review our show wherever you get your podcasts, and please share us with your friends. Without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. And this week, we were talking to the indestructible Lucha Wonderbird himself, Razerwyng. So, right off the bat, I gotta ask, how did you evolve yourself from Razor Hawk to the current Razerwyng?
You know, it involved a big emerald and a whole lot of electricity, and there was some sparks. There was some. No, I'm kidding. It was
that would have been really cool.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Obligatory. Greetings, it is I, Razerwyng, the indestructible Lucha Wonderbird, and 1/3 of the flyest show on the planet, the Air Show. All right, cool. Now that I've got that out of the way, so I used to be Razorhawk, and that was one of the Cyberhawks 2000. And when everything kind of are we allowed to curse, or is this PG?
Well, we try and keep it PG.
Okay, when everything went to crap back in 2020. Me and the artist formerly known as Danger Hawk, Mr. Mach 10, we decided that we were going to kind of just have a clean break. Just be like, okay, hey, let's leave all of the past behind us. Not that there was anything necessarily bad about the past, right? But Chikara had kind of gone off the map, and we were just like, hey, let's kind of spread our wings, so to speak. And I had toyed with a name initially. I toyed with Neo Wing, just being like, okay, well, I'm Razorhawk, and I'm still a bird, but I'm a new bird. I'm Neo Wing. And it was okay for like a month, and then I was like, no, this doesn't roll off the tongue. I really enjoyed being Razor. Like, a lot of my friends, a lot of my fans, a lot of people that I knew just called me Razor as a thing. And I got used to that, and I didn't want to let that go. So Razerwyng it was.
Nice.
Very cool. So let's kind of rewind a little bit, and let's kind of start at the beginning here. So, when did you really start kind of getting into wrestling? And were you a big fan? Did you watch wrestling growing up? Was that a thing for you?
Yeah, no doubt. This might come as a surprise to some of your listeners, but I'm an old bird. I was born in 82, and I was a fan of the wrestling in the mid 80s. Like, I remember growing up, my my dad putting on Saturday morning WWF back in the day, and I was a big fan of Macho Man. I was a big fan of Hogan back in the day, not so much these days, but back in the day, Hogan was big, Warrior, and goodness, Bret Hart earlier in the 90s and all of that. So I was a big fan of wrestling growing up, and I fell out of love with wrestling in middle school because it was a whole bunch of like, oh, don't you know that's fake and all this stuff. So I stopped watching probably around – it was shortly after the new era with where it was like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and Diesel and like all of this coming together. So I stopped watching around then, and then in high school – I remember very vividly in English class, there was a couple of fellows talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H. And I was like, what's this Stone Cold Steve Austin? I remember hearing about Stunning Steve Austin. I used to have little NWA trading cards and all that. And I remembered Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and I was like, wait a second. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the weird Connecticut blue blood, is like kind of a main event player. This is weird. And that was probably like 98-ish was when this was happening. And so I got back into it. Everyone was like, oh, Mankind and The Undertaker are doing this stuff and blah, 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 right? And I was like, oh, Mankind, the weird guy with the mask, and he pulls his hair out and all this. And yeah, because I remember seeing Mankind when he first debuted with the brown outfit and all of the craziness. It just it drew me back in right there at the late 90s, and the Attitude Era was just like something clicked, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, yeah, let's go." Stone Cold was my jam. Stone Cold and the Hardy Boys. Oh my goodness, I remember my friend Jeff used to be all about Matt Hardy. He was like, oh, Matt Hardy's like the better wrestler. Like Jeff Hardy just does his high spots and flips off his stuff and does dangerous stuff. And I was like, nah, that Jeff Hardy's got something going on. And yeah, that was my thing. And shoot, I graduated high school in 2000. And shortly thereafter, started backyarding. A buddy of mine was like, hey, I know this kid who has a ring in his backyard. Do you want to go roll around? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do that. That sounds like a great idea for just turned 18 Razerwyng weighing 105 pounds soaking wet. Let's go roll around now. Handmade ring in a backyard. So we show up to this place, and it was like, oh, okay, you guys can be in a battle royal. Have you ever been in a battle royal? I was like, I mean, like, I play No Mercy. I played WrestleMania 2000 on N64. What do you want from me? So they were like, yeah, you can be in this. And the first thing that happened is I got chopped in the throat by this guy who went on to wrestle for MCW shortly thereafter. And I was just like, okay. No shade to MCW. I'm just saying. I'm just telling stories. No shade to MCW. I've wrestled for them. They're great. I got friends there. Anyway, but yeah, like, dude went on to be an actual wrestler. And oh my goodness, I backyarded probably from 2000 to 2004. And then our friend was moving, I think. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what happened. And then everything shut down. There was this whole thing with it, like all the tapes got lost and all this stuff, which was really sad. But yeah, no, I stopped like really doing anything with wrestling. Like obviously I wasn't doing wrestling. It was totally untrained, but we were having fun. We were putting on shows every Sunday. And so I just focused on like jobby job stuff. And then what happened? Oh my goodness. I continued to follow wrestling up until about, oh goodness, even through the Reign of Terror, the whole like Triple H 2002 to 2005, I kept following. Goodness gracious, I used to like I used to record all the shows and burn them to DVD because I was like thinking to myself, oh, one day I'm going to have a wrestling training center and I'm going to have this whole library of stuff to like just study. And it was like, there's the WWE network coming up in about like 15 years. Did you know? So I stopped watching around 2007 or so, something like that. And got a little bit back into it around 2009, turned on the TV and was like, who the hell is this Sheamus person?
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was cool. It was like, all right, cool. John Cena's still doing stuff. Oh, this Sheamus guy's there. The Miz is still there. All right. Kept watching. I moved from Baltimore to Philadelphia, and was like, that was 2012. 2012, I moved to Philadelphia, and a buddy of mine was like, hey, you know, Chikara's right there. Like, you could go train if you want to. And I was like, what? No, stop. No, get out of Dodge. I'm not doing that. But then I thought about it, and I reached out, and they were like, yeah, here's our training schedule. And I said, that does not line up with my work schedule. Nope, not going to happen. So literally didn't even think about it for like years. And then one day I was just talking to a coworker about wrestling, and I was like, oh, yeah, there's this promotion in Philadelphia, blah, 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 all this stuff, Lucha Libre, yada, yada. And showed him the website, and the training schedule lined up with my work schedule. Something had changed. So I was like, okay, I'm not getting any younger. It's now or never. Do I want to do this, yes or no? So I talked to my wife, and I said, wife, they have an intro to pro wrestling workshop at the end of November in 2015. If I go there and this place isn't sketchy AF, is it cool if I just plunk down the money and do the training? And she said, absolutely, Razerwyng.
Nice.
And I said, this is why you are my glorious wife. Thank you very much. So I went to training, met Fire Ant, met Amasis, met Molly McCoy, met Mike Quackenbush, and a whole host of other folks who were training at the time, and did the wrestles. And it was awesome. It was really great. I had a great time at my first introduction to actual professional wrestling training. And so I started training January 9th, I think it was, of 2016. My first class was a Dustin or Chuck Taylor class. And
Nice.
It was funny. He's way, way taller in person than I thought he was.
Yeah.
It was funny because I walk in and they had me sign the paperwork and do the payments and yada yada on the little gimmick tablet or whatever. And I was just like, oh yeah, this is my shoot name. And Dustin's like, I'm Dustin. And I was like, just sitting there, and then like it clicked, and I was like, oh, that's Chuck Taylor. Whoa, he's so tall. Because like seeing his promo photos online and stuff, it like he was doing this whole thing, and like he kind of looks like kind of just a goofy kid like I was back in the day, and yeah, just to see him, it was super cool. We did it was beginner class, of course. And I think it was power slams. I think we were doing power slams that day, which is not necessarily beginner fare, but Dustin's a wild card. You can't really, you can't prepare for a Dustin class. It's we were just talking about this on Twitter the other day. It was like, oh, Dustin class. Everyone's just looking around. Dustin's like, what do you want to do today? Everyone's like, He's like, screw it, we're doing Frankensteiners. So yeah, I started training January of 2016, debuted October of 2016, and the rest, as they say, is history.
That's very cool.
That was probably a longer answer than you were looking for. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect.
Well, you made some interesting points there, and I find it interesting that, like, a lot of guys won't talk about the fact that they started in backyard. But when you start sitting down and talking to people, you find all these people that are extremely talented that started in backyard, and that kind of led them, to really want to do something more with it. I was never a wrestler, but I ran a few backyard shows in my day, and I actually lived about 10 minutes from where Tony Deppen grew up. And he was
wonderful.
Yeah, he was a huge backyarder, and they wrestled on trampolines.
Mm-hmm.
No ring ropes, nothing. They were just all trampoline. But
we had a trampoline as well.
Yeah, you can just never discount the fact that some talented people have really come from the backyarding world, kind of fired up their spirits, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair to backyarders, like, you still, when you're in the backyard, you might not be learning how to put together a match or call spots or craft stories or even how to execute moves properly. But even, especially on trampolines, you're still learning body agency and that ability to control yourself in dicey or dangerous situations. So it's
Sure.
I'm like, I don't see much wrong with it, other than some folks, I'll just say some kids, because it's usually kids, right? Like, I was a kid doing it.
Sure. Sure.
But like, some kids can get a hot pepper up their butt and like do some things that are probably ill-advised. So I'm actually glad that I didn't go into pro wrestling right out of backyarding, because I've racked up my fair share of injuries doing what I do now, and I probably would have been very much worse for wear back in the day, because I didn't have that adult head on my shoulders.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you were in training and you were, kind of climbing your way up, where did you get the idea and inspiration for the character known as Razorhawk, aka Razorwyng?
Well, that was a very much a Chikara thing. So it was one of those things where, and I'm not sure how much y'all know about, like, how the character stuff works, but basically it was one day we were working on tag stuff, and we had been working on tag stuff for quite a while, beginning September to October of 2016 or so, and myself and Wheeler Yuta were just teamed up in this. It was like, there was Crummels, there was Defarge, there were the Cop Boys, there was goodness, who else? I think the Ants might have been part of it. The New Ants. I don't know that Solo and Travis were a part of it at that time, but anyway, we were working on a bunch of tag stuff, and yeah, so Yuta and I were doing our thing, training, whatever, and at one point we were just doing drills, and I remember Mike going, "All right, get in there, Cyberhawks." And me and Yuta look at each other and we're like, "Is that our name?" All right, let's go. So we get in there, and it was a fun time. Like, we were just putting together our stuff, figuring out what worked, what we were all about. And I remember the initial discussion was, so your Cyberhawks and your birds and your Razorhawk and your Silverhawk, and you guys are really into your like, really into your and the fans aren't sure what to know, like, to think about you, but you come out and you're really into your and we're like, okay, and we had to run with that. So Yuta and I were like, all right, well, what are we? Like, what are we? Oh, okay, we're birds from space. Okay, we're Cyberhawks. Are we from cyberspace? I mean, that makes sense. We're from cyberspace. Okay, cool. Like, is that like another galaxy? Sure, it's another galaxy. All right, cool. All right, what do you do? Well, I do this. Okay, what do I do? Well, I guess I do this. All right. Shoot. Okay. All right, what else? What else? Are we like just we travel through space to come here to fight evil? Yeah, maybe. Did we go through time? Yeah, we went through time. That's great. That's a good one. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, it was like honestly, it was a big collaborative effort. Like, it wasn't just me and Yuta doing this. It was like a whole bunch of us. And I would be remiss if I didn't credit, like, everyone else that we were in training with, like, from Crummels to Farge, Green Ant, Weber, Boomer, Molly, Shay, like the whole kit and caboodle, like the whole entire, like, it was really is a group effort. Much like a lot of things, I think, like there are a lot of things that we just kind of like put our heads together. Like, we're just sitting there rolling around on like a random Tuesday or Thursday night and just beating each other up. And we're like, oh, what do you think of this? Right? Like, oh, what do you think of this? You know, and go home like bruised and battered, being like, that's a good idea. I got to remember that. Oh, man, I got to write that down. My brain doesn't work that well anymore. But like, yeah, we put together this whole like collaborative thing. You know, we worked on promos. We worked on like who these characters are. Yeah, like, I mean, just in case, like, for the listeners or whatever, like, in case you didn't know, Wheeler Yuta was Silverhawk. He's admitted as much on Twitter. So, like, you know, it's cool. It's cool. We're not throwing big Utes under the bus or anything. But goodness gracious, yeah, it was a fun time. We were firing on all cylinders, just being creative, just getting after it. Yeah, it was a blast.
You said a couple of things there that are really very Chikara things. The first one is, as you talk about the collaborative nature of like what you guys were doing, and we've had this conversation on the show a couple times before about how the trainees that came out of the Wrestle Factory, when you look at how they work and their body of work and their matches, and then you go and see other promotions that have training schools, you see that the Wrestle Factory trainees are so much further ahead and so much better at basically everything they do, from, putting a match together, telling a story, just really connecting with the crowd. So that's the first big thing. And then you said two things that couldn't have been more Chikara related. One, of course, is traveling through time, because as we all know, time travel is like one of the biggest tropes in the history of Chikara. And what is more Chikara than, well, what are we? Well, we're birds from space. Like, what what is more Chikara than, hey, we're birds from space?
That's all you need, man.
Yeah,
no
very
doubt,
cool.
no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. It's that's what really drew me to Chikara. It was like, I could have trained at any company, any promotion, and probably have done okay. But Chikara was fun. Chikara was like it, like Mike always said, we're a comic book come to life, and I have been. It's been difficult since Chikara's closure that, like, I don't really see that anywhere else. Like, sometimes I just want to be goofy and tell fun stories. And what I've found lately is, like, not even lately, like, honestly, since the pandemic, it's just indie wrestling has been, you know what? I'm just going to say it. If I make some enemies, whatever. Indie wrestling's been kind of poopy. Like, it's a whole bunch of like, oh, let's put cool indie wrestler of the month against cool indie wrestler of the month and see what happens. And that's fine. But I really like stories. And I know there are promotions that are telling stories. Beyond is telling stories. That's basically all I got. Flying V is telling stories, and Flying V is very much that sort of cartoon come to life, like that whole thing. And I have been very fortunate to be a part of Flying V. I remember they were doing things before the pandemic started, and it was very much a sort of comic book, very fun atmosphere. And I didn't even get my shot at Flying V until I want to say last year, something like that. Mach 10 had been wrestling there for quite some time, and I just never got a chance to get my foot in the door, and finally did. And Mach 10 and I are now in this Double Dash tournament that they're putting on. They're incredibly. They're probably one of my favorite places to wrestle. But ongoing narratives. But then you've got other places that are just putting on matches to put on matches, and that's fine. There's nothing really wrong with that. It's just not my personal thing that I prefer. Like, everyone likes different flavors of ice cream, to steal another Chikara thing. Like, everyone likes different flavors of ice cream. I like Rocky Road. Some people like vanilla, and that's fine. Yeah.
You were saying that you like storytelling versus like just indie versus indie. With that being said, a lot of times on our show we've talked about the Bloodline saga that is currently going on for the last 3 or so years with Reigns and the Bloodline. What are your thoughts on that story, and have you been keeping up with it?
Oh no, you're gonna expose me as a bad wrestler. So, so back before, I want to say 2021, I definitely followed wrestling, mainstream and indie wrestling, and then my son was born in September of 2021, and everything went to crap.
Sure.
I lost my schedule. I wasn't working out regularly. I wasn't eating regularly, and I wasn't watching wrestling regularly. And I still am not watching wrestling regularly. However, I have been keeping up as much as I can on the Bloodline storyline, and holy moly, what drama. Trying to catch up on like YouTube highlights and stuff, seeing the whole thing with the Usos and Solo and Roman and Sammy and Kevin and all of this, and just like kind of watching it fall into place. And then WrestleMania happened, and then Money in the Bank happened, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything since Money in the Bank, just because like shoot job and family have been keeping me very busy. I didn't even watch Forbidden Door.
Uh-oh.
Like I caught clips. I caught clips of Forbidden Door, but like I didn't watch the whole thing, and I feel bad.
Shun the non-believer.
Right?
Shun.
No, I do. It is in my list. It is in my list, and actually, I'm off tomorrow. I don't have much going on except taking the kids to the museum, and maybe, who knows, maybe I'll watch some wrestling. I don't know. I'm really behind on doing promos too, so
always something to do.
Oh my goodness. One kid was so easy. One kid was like, all right, cool, I got this schedule. I can adhere to it. I can work around it. Two kids, nope, completely different schedules. One wants one thing, one wants the other. They're screaming at different times. It's pandemonium.
Pandemonium.
But yeah, no, I love storytelling. I love I don't love everything that WWE is doing, obviously. But I love what they're doing with the Bloodline. That's really cool.
Yeah, I love the Bloodline storyline, but for me, if you want to talk about long-term storytelling, nothing beats the Eye of Tyr. Sorry, I'm just throwing that out there.
You're 100% right. That is some long-term storytelling. Yeah, the Eye of Tyr is an interesting story element / MacGuffin. It serves its purpose in a lot of ways and has served its purpose in a lot of ways. Yeah, it's It's a really interesting storytelling device, and the whole thing in 2016 with the Chikara's Greatest Heroes and the Hexed Men and all of that. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I just remember being in training during all of that and like watching all of this unfold and getting to kind of see it up close and just watch how it all came together. That whole thing. And oh my goodness, the reveal with Ultra Mantis at the end. The whole I remember everything. I was like, oh yeah, go Mantis.
That main event at the end of
good.
the season in Chicago was just fire. That thing was lit from beginning to end. Every aspect of it too, down to just the little superhero nods in the entrance gear, and like it just everything about it was so good. I mean,
Fire
you
Ants
can't.
is Iron Man.
Oh,
yeah,
it's just incredible, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good stuff.
Indeed. Chicago is probably one of my favorite places to work. I haven't worked there often, but the few times that I have, it's just they're always such a fun crowd.
Yeah. Chicago's always a good time.
So, just in kind of talking about your time in Chikara a little bit, so were you always were you interested in being a masked wrestler? Were you interested in not being a masked wrestler? Was that something you wanted to do, or was that something that was kind of given to you and you went with it?
Yeah, it was basically something they were like, yeah, this is what you're going to do. And I was like, okay. Initially, like, honestly, if I had it my way, I would have been way less successful than I have been, because I would have been a punch kick wrestler, and I'm 5'4", 5'5" on a good day. That's not going to work. Like I was rolling in there wearing a leather jacket, looking like a tough guy, and I was going to be a punch kick wrestler, and that was not going to fly. So they put me in a mask. I remember I did pitch a character. I was like, oh, maybe I'll be the Chikara court jester, right? Like they had crowning court, and they had this whole thing with the ice creams and Kimberly and all this.
That.
And do you remember? Are either of you gamers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember Final Fantasy IX?
I wasn't a big fan of it, but yes.
Okay, do you remember the two jesters, Zorn and Thorn?
Yes.
That was going to be. I was like, hey, this is what I want to look like. This is what I want to do. I'll do some cartwheels. I'll be really goofy. I'll do some stuff. And my email fell on deaf ears, and then I became a Cyberhawk.
Oh man,
Sean, what do we call that on our show?
What was it?
We call that a missed opportunity.
Oh yeah, the missed opportunity. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Listen, anybody that had the opportunity to talk to you during intermission at a Chikara show knows that was a missed opportunity. You would have killed.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I was like, oh man, let me paint my face up. I'll do the whole thing and all that stuff. I'll be real fun, goofy. I mean, hey, I was still real fun and goofy because I just basically I just based Razorhawk on like what I was like in the year 2000.
Yeah,
and that's it. That's me. That's Razorwyng. You know, well, Razorwyng is now more me like now.
Oh yeah, of course.
The whole thing.
If Razorwyng is you now, then is like Hellraiser you before coffee in the morning?
Ooh,
Hellraiser is me in the middle of 2020.
There you go.
That's Hellraiser. So like July of 2020, that's Hellraiser. I was in I'm like not trying to like derail or like whatever, but it basically yes, without coffee in the morning, because like I was a very brooding, ticked off mamma jamma in July of 2020 for a variety of reasons. Watching the death of my home promotion happen, watching the pandemic happen, watching the mishandling of the pandemic, coming to the realization that 1/3 of the population would sit by while 1/3 of the population killed the other third of the population. And I was like, ooh, I just want to explode. I really want to just explode right now. And initially, like Neo-Wing, Razerwyng wasn't even going to happen. I was just going to be Hellraiser. And I told this to Mach 10. I was like, so here's what I'm thinking about doing. And he was like, you sure you want to do that? Like, you sure you want to do, like, that's a little much. And I was like, this is where I'm at right now. I was like Batman. I was like, this is who I am. and he and the artist formerly known as Green Ant, Ultimo Ant, he and Ultimo Ant and Miss Yolanda talked to me back from the ledge, and they were like, why don't you dial that back a little bit? Why don't you try some air show? How about this air show? What do you think of air show? I was like, I guess I could do some air show instead. I don't know. I guess. So yeah, but Hellraiser is basically I put it on the back burner, and I brought it out for my feud with Brandon Kirk at Dropkick Depression. And Hellraiser basically turned into my demon Finn Balor.
Yeah.
Or maybe my The Fiend.
Yeah,
where it's like
evil character.
like my the stakes get real high, things get real dark, I'm getting my butt whooped, and it's like, all right, it's time to bring out the big guns. Here's the person who puts people through tables and puts skewers in their face. Although I did that as Razerwyng. I didn't do that as Hellraiser.
Yeah.
But that was my friend Connor. I gotta put skewers in Connor's face, right?
That's the first thing I think about when I see Friends. I'm like, where's my skewers?
Where's our skewers?
Right?
Yeah. The Hellraiser mask is amazing. That is such a cool mask. And
Thank you.
The entrance is like nothing you've seen before. The entrance is that's genius, I gotta say.
I appreciate that so much. It was like the mask, all the credit in the world to Dr. Omega. Omega Masks, used to be Omega Masks on Twitter. I don't know what his handle is. Off the top of my head, I'm sure I could look it up. But Dr. Omega, incredible mask maker. Like just the quality, like the leather that's on it, all of the stitching, all of the little details, the busted out eye and all of this. It's just, oh my goodness. I like hats off. Absolutely, like hats off to Dr. Omega, because it's just, man, that mask, I love it. I wish I had more opportunities to wear it. Because it's just, it costs a pretty penny. Like, you get what you pay for. But B, it's just so much fun to be that side of me, that dark, like, I'm just going to mess you up and not feel bad about it. Like, Razerwyng is like, for the most part, like a good guy, like altruistic to a fault. The indestructible Lucha Wonderbird wants to do the right thing at all times. And Hellraiser is just like, you've crossed a line and you're going to pay for it, and I don't care what happens to you. It's just this scary sort of like, because like we can all go there, like everybody can go. Like the Joker had said in that one Batman movie, like, oh, you're just one bad day away from being me. And it's like, like kind of everyone has that capability. And like, what happens when the good guy has that happen to him? Hellraiser.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You mentioned Dropkick Depression earlier, and I wanted to touch a bit on that. How did it feel to win their heavyweight belt after not wrestled for over a year after the pandemic?
That was wild. Wild is the first word that I would say. So literally had not been in the ring for over a year. didn't even go to training leading up to Dropkick Depression. I was just doing little home workouts in my little home workout area, which literally was just like my living room and some free weights. So like I wasn't what most people would call in ring shape, but I wrestled 3 matches that day. I went in there wearing a mask under my mask because it was still like, hey, COVID's still a thing. Like,
Yeah.
we got to be careful. Like, I think I had gotten my first 2 inoculations out of like I think 4 that I've had now or something like that. But it was like, oh yeah, COVID's still very much a thing. And we go in there and it's like, okay, you're going to be wrestling Logan Black in the first round. Okay, cool. And then you're going to be wrestling, if you win, you're going to be wrestling in the final, which is going to be a 4-way eliminator. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm prepared. Right. So I beat Logan Black and I was like, oh, holy moly. Like, Logan and I have had like a little bit of a rivalry on Twitter up to that point. It was like, all right, like, you know, we wrestled at Dropkick a little while beforehand, before the pandemic. And he was always talking smack to me like, you stupid bird. And I'm like, you stupid New York punk. No one wants to hear what you're saying. And yeah, so I beat him. He was talking tons of trash and I was sucking wind the whole match. He was putting the boots to me, and I eked it out. It was great. Big win. I did big moves. I did a tope suicida into a tornado DDT on the outside. That was never did that before. And beat him 1, 2, 3, and then it was me and BT Bull and Edith Surreal and Riley Shepard in the 4-way eliminator, and it came down to myself and Edith Surreal, and Edith tied me up in knots. Like, it was brutal. She had put me in like all these different holds, and I'm like, I cannot move. Everything hurts. What am I doing? I slammed her down with a vicious razor's edge, and goodness, it was one heck of a match. And after that, Tara and Jeff come up to me and they're like, hey, guess what? And I was like, chicken butt? And they were like, no. We're filming the next show right now, and you've got to defend your title against Kip Stevens. And I said, crap. So I went and toweled off as best as I could, had a bunch of water, and then I went out there and whooped Evil Kip's butt.
There you go.
And that was also bad. Like, literally 3 matches in one day in the hot May. Yes, it was May 25th, but it was hot at the H2O training center, and it was just, yeah, it was bananas. I'm sitting there wearing a full body suit, and it's just, you know, I just went out there and I gave it my all, and I was just like, you know, this is it. Like, we're coming back. I've been watching a bunch of. See, here's where I'm gonna get in trouble. I've been watching a whole bunch of wrestlers get popular during the pandemic. Not necessarily all of them, but like some of them get popular during the pandemic just simply because they were the ones that were wrestling during the pandemic. And watching them, it was like, okay, you could stand a few more reps. So like, I guess I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder coming back, and I was like, I don't even care that I can't breathe. I'm just going full tilt to the wall. And I did. Yeah. It was something else. But to win that title on that day and then defend it and keep it on that day, it was elated doesn't even begin to describe it. I felt honored. I felt just joy, just absolute joy. And then to bring it home and show it to my my wife and kid, and my daughter just being like, "Daddy, you did it!" And I was like, "Yeah, that's right, I did do it." It was the best feeling in the world, and to see that like I was still capable of getting after it, even after not doing it for over a year. It was like riding a bike.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So winning that championship, is that something that you would consider to be maybe the defining moment in your career so far, or is there maybe something else that kind of trumps that?
It's neck and neck. Neck and neck is winning the Dropkick Depression Heavyweight Championship and pinning Hella Wicked.
Ooh.
Yes.
Nice.
When I pinned my trainer, my mentor, a man that I look up to, not just as a wrestler, but as a whatever you want to call him, person, entity, being, just as a thing that has a conscience and brain, goofy, tall, pumpkin head. No, I admire Hallowicked in so many ways, and being in that 4-way eliminator with him and Ultimo Ant and Weber Hatfield, and it actually, no, it wasn't a 4-way eliminator. It was a 4-way dance. Right, that's the one where it's one fall to a finish.
Yep.
But anyway, I pinned Hallowicked. I pinned a Chikara Gen 1 original. I pinned since 2002, putting on some of the best matches anyone has ever seen anywhere. Most, I'm not going to say underrated wrestler, because anyone who knows Hallowicked knows how good he is, but the best unsigned wrestler, I'm going to say it, the best unsigned wrestler ever, Hallowicked. Like, literally the man. I pinned him. And that was, I mean, I don't want to say that was luck. Me pinning Icarus was luck. That was Icarus pinning Icarus, right? But like, I pinned Hallowicked. Holy moly. Jumping off the top rope, Hurricane Rana, full tilt, got both the legs, in deep, 1, 2, 3, boom, pinned Hallowicked. Like, boom, feather in the cap, right? Oh, that's so close. It's so close right there with the Dropkick Depression Heavyweight Championship, because it was like both of those were just like, oh, I have arrived, done it. Like, Dropkick Depression Heavyweight Championship, May of 2021. Pinning Hallowicked, I think it was October of 2021, something like that. That was a year. That was such a good year.
It was in the same year.
Oh my
same year.
goodness. Yes. Oh, it was just, oh, that year was good. I was feeling really good. But yeah, they're neck and neck. They're neck and neck right there. Oh, goodness. Yeah.
So not to go too off topic, but I just have to
Please.
ask your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to basically watch yourself on NXT when they first debuted the character Axiom? Was it like looking in a mirror?
Yeah, in a whole lot of ways. It was like looking in the mirror. Yeah, I remember the teaser came out, and I'm not going to say like I remember exactly like everything that was going on, because like it was a while ago, and I've kind of put a lot of this out of my brain for a variety of reasons. But yes, I remember the teaser happened, and I think I woke up to a bunch of people being like, "WTF, man? You going on NXT? What's going on?" And then A-Kid had reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like, you know, wasn't my thing. Like, I didn't do this." Yeah, they were like, "Hey, this is you now." And I was like, okay, you know, like we're friendly, like, you know, yeah, like I met him back in Trios in 2017, and then I think it was Trios 2018. Like he came back over and all this. Like we're friends, we're good, we're buds, right? Yeah. Um, he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna change it. It's gonna look different, yada yada, this and that, blah blah blah, right? And then the debut happened, and it was like, that's me. That's me. That's my look.
me.
That's my look. That's my pose. You're doing my and I don't appreciate it. Right? I can kind of laugh about it now because I'm not over it, but I've built a bridge and I'm like on my way over it, right? But it was irksome because like let's just pretend for a moment, right, that maybe you're trying to get on a national wrestling program. Maybe the national wrestling program is a competitor. I don't know. Maybe they have like a little thing that you're trying to get into, right? Where independent wrestlers tend to show up, right? Well, why would that national wrestling program want to have me on there when their competitor has somebody who looks exactly like me?
Right.
That's like, I was just like, oh, wow, that's like totally the death of my career right now. That's what's happening right now. That's what's happening. Here I am, like, I'm on my way up, and now I'm gone. But you know, hey, it is what it is. WWE is going to do what WWE does to everybody, and that's be awful.
I mean, I think since then they've changed his look and his mask to look more like an original character. But the first year was definitely 100% Razorhawk. But I think since then they've just dialed it down to just a mask and like tights, no full suit anymore. It's just like a much dumbed down.
His gimmicks up here are taped to his head now.
Yeah, it's all.
And he's red and all that. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
That was Yeah. I'm glad they changed finally.
Yeah,
that was a long time coming. But yeah, I mean that was a thing that happened. It was so like it was like went from this and then started doing this, and I was like, okay, now you're stealing my tag partners. Like, come on, just do something else.
Where does it end?
Yeah, right.
Where does it end? Like,
where does the copyright end?
At that point, I'm like, all right, we're done being friends. Like, just figure it out. Figure out whatever you're gonna do and just do it, but don't do someone else's stuff. Yeah, it was just really irksome. But you know, it is what it is. I'm still getting after it. I'm still having fun, which is great. Mach 10 and I have a cool thing going. We just added a new member to the air show. He's doing okay. He's new, but he's okay. He's good. You know, he's good. But you know, we're doing things. We're doing things. Our Twitter's been hacked, and that's a pain in the butt. But whatever.
No. That's the worst.
I mean, hey, the new owner of Twitter doesn't really care about anything. So
no.
What do you expect?
Absolutely not.
I like your shirt there, by the way, Parmesan.
Oh,
I know I didn't comment on it, and I wanted to, and I just like.
For those of you who can't see this, I'm wearing a Razorhawk shirt from when I went to King of Trios 2018.
Yep.
I actually met you there, and you were wearing the shirt over your bodysuit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I gotta have that shirt, man. I gotta have that shirt, man. That's a shirt. That's a must shirt.
I appreciate that so much. I remember I did an informal poll, and I was like, oh, what kind of shirt do we want to see, right? And all the wrestling fans were like, oh, anything but a black T-shirt, right? So I get this baby blue Razorhawk shirt, right, with this really cute little caca artwork on it, and it didn't sell for anything. It's literally like wrestling fans will tell you, "Oh, we want anything but a black T-shirt," but wrestling fans only buy black T-shirts.
I mean, yeah,
Like,
that's like an unwritten rule of wrestling tees, is that they're all in black.
no doubt, no
I love
doubt.
this shirt because it stands out. It stands
It's
out
different.
from the back.
Yeah,
Stands
yeah. Appreciate you. Thank you.
out.
We at my job we had a wear black day. They try and do these engagement things with us, and so they're like, wear all black. And my wife looks at me and she says, "But you already wear black every day." I'm like,
there you go.
Same.
I'm like, but the wife, it's black. It goes with everything. It's I don't
Exactly.
I don't know. I may own. Honestly, I think my Juan Francisco purple shirt might be the only wrestling shirt I own that's not black.
Okay. No doubt.
It's just it's standard. It's it makes you feel like you're a part of the tribe because everyone else has got black.
Everyone else is wearing it.
Indeed.
Yep.
I tell you, Steve Jobs was onto something with his whole jeans and black shirt thing. Like,
Yeah.
my regular everyday wear. I own 3 pairs of jeans. I got a black pair, I got a dark blue pair, I got a light blue pair, and then I got nothing but compression black tees and black long sleeves. And that's what I wear every day. I don't need to worry. I'm just like, boom, jeans, black shirt, easy peasy. And you got to worry about color coordinating and nothing. If I go out somewhere and it's like, oh, you got to look fancy, throw on my little suit jacket over top of the black, and the black.
Very nice.
Easy.
Very nice.
Easy. I don't have to worry about pressing no pants or nothing. Nah, that ain't me. I got my boots. I'm good.
Perfect.
Very cool. You did mention earlier you had just kind of thrown out that you had watched your home promotion go away, talking about Chikara. So with the wrestling that you're doing now, is there somewhere that you would consider to be your home promotion now?
I would say Dropkick Depression. I was their champion for well over a year. Goodness, it was coming up on 2. I was almost 2 years in, and then Evil Kip beat me for the title. Cheated his butt off, but beat me nonetheless. And he is now the Dropkick Depression heavyweight champion, much to many people's chagrin. But I'd say Dropkick. Flying V and ISW are definitely in the running for that. They're definitely places that I just love being. They're just like fun organizations to wrestle for. Just a really great atmosphere, a really great locker room, a really great crowd. Everyone's just having a good time the whole time. And those are the places that I really want to be at. I could go to some of these really like super indie places where it's like kind of a, I'm not going to say tough crowd because it's like tough crowd doesn't bother me or anything. Like I can get by on my abilities. I can get by on my character, but there's something about being in kind of a party atmosphere that just really lifts my spirits. Like I love doing brewery shows. If I can do brewery shows for the rest of my career, because it's just a whole bunch of people who aren't even wrestling fans that are just showing up to like have a few bevies and have a good time. And they don't know anything. They're impressed by a body slam, right? But then you like get in there and you're like doing your shtick. You're like, oh, I'm Razerwyng, indestructible Lucha Wonderbird. And then I get slapped across the face by my opponent. It's like, you know what? I deserve that one. The crowd erupts into laughter, and you're like, yeah, we got him. And then we do some fun lucha stuff, and the crowd's like, holy crap, what the flip? What is this? What did I just see? And then they all go home happy. You go home happy, hopefully with a couple of ducats in your pocket. And then you do it all the next weekend. Whatever. It's good. Everyone goes home happy.
It's interesting that you brought that up because I had a conversation with an indie promoter a week or two ago, and one of the things that we were talking about was how indie wrestling has sort of become so serious about itself. It's, you're not seeing, and again, it goes back to, like you said, we're not seeing a lot of these companies that kind of looked at it the way that a Chikara would. You're having fun in the ring. The fans are having fun outside the ring. Chikara really felt like you weren't just going to a wrestling show, you were being a part of a community, because everybody was just having this completely organic good time together. And you very rarely see that in indie wrestling anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's indie wrestling, by and large, is taking itself way too seriously these days. And I think that it could stand to take a step back, look in the mirror, and pull its pants down on itself. It's like, just, you don't have to be so serious all the time. Like, yeah, sure. Okay,
Sure.
You're in a fight. I get it. It's a wrestling contest. You're looking to win. That's cool. Championships are cool. But holy crap, if you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it?
Absolutely, 100%.
Like, I don't understand these folks who come up and they're like, I just want to be the best and the toughest and all this stuff. And maybe that's why I'm a goofy babyface. Maybe. But, like, I'm out there not just to win a match. I'm out there to put smiles on people's faces. Like, they bought a ticket. They paid, like, $20, $25, $30, whatever it is, to sit in the general admission or the front row or the standing room only. They're there to have a good time. And if I just go in there and I just do moves and I just beat up my opponent, regardless of what I do, well, what benefit is it to them? Like, they want to see flashy stuff. They want to see my personality. They want to see my opponent's personality. They want to see the dynamic between the both of us. So if I get in there and I can get a rise out of my opponent, and my opponent can get a rise out of me, and we can make each other better for it and put on a fun show, regardless of how athletic or how like brutal it is. Like, it can be brutal, but it can still be entertaining and it can still tell a story, right? Like, my match with Bam Sullivan at Dropkick Depression, my first, like, real hardcore match. Like, sure, I had that bit with Murloc back in, was that 2017? I think it was 2017, March of 2017. I had a fight with Murloc that spilled to the outside, and he threw me through a bunch of chairs in the crowd. The whole Terry Funk spot, right? And, that was hardcore. But, like, my first real hardcore match was against Bam Sullivan, because he didn't want to sit there and take my lucha moves. Like, I was sitting there out wrestling him, and he went to the back and got a whole bunch of plunder, and the referee was like, nope. And me, being me, was like, nah, let's do this. Let's go. Ill-advised as it was, right? But I wound up beating him at his own game. He beat me with chairs. He beat me with a kendo stick. He put me into thumbtacks. Like, that was, for better or for worse, we told a story in that match. Like, they don't all wind up that way, but when they do, like, that's the stuff that I really like. I like when it's a struggle. Like, and if it can be a fun struggle, cool. It doesn't always have to be. It can be brutal. Like, it can be brutal. Like, me and Cecil and Connor at ISW, when I did the whole skewers gimmick, and there was the Legos and the thumbtacks and the table and all of that. It could be a spot fest. It could just be a scramble. It could be like, maybe you're in there and it's just like, oh, hey, it's a babyface versus babyface tag team match, and we wind up just going out there and doing hot moves for 5 minutes. Suddenly someone gets a flash pin. Oh, all right. Well, that didn't tell a story, but it was fun. I just like fun.
Goofy wrestling for life.
Indeed.
So, who would you say is your favorite wrestler that you've shared the ring with? And do you have a favorite match?
Ooh. I'm never prepared for these questions. I'm so sorry. Like this is like going on a job interview, right? And they're like, "So what would you say are your strengths?" And you're like, I don't know. I've got ADHD and anxiety. Oh wait, that's not a strength.
It's a superpower.
It's my superpower. I focus on nothing and I worry about everything. So yeah, okay. So all right. My favorite person that I've been in the ring with. Ooh, I really hope I don't. I hope I don't cheese anybody off with this one. Is it okay if I take just 30 seconds to think about it?
Yeah, please
No, it's
do.
all good.
Parmesan's shaking his head.
No, it's all good.
Shaking his head like, no.
No,
Yeah,
it's
let's-
fine. It's good. That's perfectly
do it.
fine. Do we need to play the Jeopardy sound too?
Oh, you could. No,
Yeah,
okay.
throw that in
My
there.
favorite person that I've ever been in the ring with, that's goodness. I'm
tough
sorry.
when you try
It's
to
gonna be.
narrow it down.
It is because there's so many good ones. Okay, so many good ones. Right, I'm gonna name some, and then I'm gonna pick one. Okay.
Good. Okay.
Very cool.
Fine.
Okay.
Perfect.
Cool.
Perfect.
So
I'm down.
Fire Ant,
Perfect.
Mhm.
Hallowicked,
Of course.
Mako Satomura,
That's a good one.
Ultimo Dragon,
Oh, that's a good one.
the Hurricane,
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I'm going with Hallowicked.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gotta go with the mentor, man.
Just
Gotta go with the mentor, man.
I can't not say Hallowicked there. It's easily just the even getting my butt kicked by him. It was I still learned so much. It was basically like training class all over again. It was just and boom. Oh, I should have been looking for that. Okay, what was the counter? Okay. If he does it again, I'm going to do that. Okay. No, I got hit again, right? You're sitting there and you're just constantly in your mind thinking oh, what am I doing? Right? Yeah, it's Hallowicked. It's Hallowicked all the way. I can't. Yeah. What was the other one? My favorite match?
Favorite match that you've been in?
Favorite match that I've been in. Oh goodness. I was in a really, really this was a fun match. Oh God. I've been in so many fun matches lately, and it's just been obviously beating Hallowicked, cool. Winning the dropkick title, cool. Putting skewers in Connor's face, cool. I had a match recently. It was myself and Mach 10 against the Colony. Our first time wrestling the Colony, right? Ultimo Ant and Electro Ant. Super fun match. Not my favorite match. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ultimo. I'm sorry, Electro. I'll do a shot of Malort later in your honor. I think my favorite match was one that we had against the Goons in Flying V.
Okay.
This was a match that even my mom liked. And my mom doesn't like my wrestling. So this woman rolls her eyes at basically everything that I do, and she's like, "Why are you still doing this? You're constantly getting hurt. Why are you still doing this?" I don't get it, right? I made her sit down and watch the Air Show versus the Goons, and she loved it.
Nice.
Loved it. And I even told Killian and Miles. I saw them later on at a high tension show. I was like, "Hey y'all, that match against you where we whooped your butt and beat you and pinned you 1, 2, 3." They were like, yeah, bird brain. I was like, it's my favorite match. And then I blew him a kiss. Killian was so hot. He was so hot. He was like red hot. I was like, yeah, Sonic, come and get some.
Yeah.
We'll see. We might. Hey, who knows? They play their cards right. We play our cards right. We might be seeing them in the finals at Flying V's Double Dash.
Oh,
We'll see.
there
We'll
you
see.
go.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll beat him
Go.
again. I'll beat him again. I'll beat him again.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite match, I think. It was the bad guys being real bad and the good guys being real good and real goofy, and we did a whole bunch of hot moves, and we came out on top. Our hot moves won. And it was good. The crowd was good. The atmosphere was electric. The match was good. I didn't mess anything up. I usually mess something up. Like something gets messed up. Like I go for a thing and I just don't make it. Like I've kind of got this like Sabu thing going on where every match I go for something and it just doesn't quite work out for me. And this time it didn't happen. Everything went well. The goons were like, oh, we're going to beat you and we're going to do all this stuff. And like, you know, their hubris was their downfall. And we got the 1, 2, 3 and it was cool. I made Miles poop his pants. That was cool. Big missile drop kick off the top rope. I hit Killian with the drop kick, senton to Miles. Miles goes. I tell the referee, you better check that man.
Yeah.
And then I covered him. I was like, you better check him. Cover 1, 2. Killian breaks it up. I'm like, come on now. Come on.
Wow. Yeah, he was probably praying for a 3.
Probably.
I bet. If I were in this position, I would have.
Yeah, I can see why that was your favorite match. You know, with that being said, you know, over your career so far, you've been in a lot of different teams and things. Would you say that you prefer tag team or maybe trios wrestling, or are you more into singles wrestling? What do you really prefer?
Oh yeah, totally. So when I can get it, I prefer trios.
Oh.
Trios is just so much fun. You're sitting there, you got 6 paintbrushes that you're sitting there painting with, right? And you can do so many cool things, so many cool moves. It's like, oh man, maybe, right? We'll get them down, right? We'll put them down. We'll do boom 1, boom 2, boom 3, boom, big pile on cover. We got him, right? Oh yeah, we could do that. Or we could do a big triple team, right? Right? Big foo, doosh, right? Big. But we don't really get to do trios wrestling that much these days. So yeah, tag team is fun. I think tag team is like really where I want to be these days. I had a good little run as a singles wrestler, as the Dropkick Depression heavyweight champion. I did really well. Mach 10 is now the PWE champion. That just happened last night. That's incredible. Good for him. He's well deserved. That's
absolutely.
But yeah, like I really like tag wrestling. It's just you know, we can work off of each other, we can play off of each other. We can help each other out when we're down. Like if I'm in there and I'm getting my butt whooped, I can make the tag to Mach 10, or I can make the tag to Jazelle, or vice versa. You know, it's we can do that for each other, which is great. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our old foes, Crummels and Defarge. Like anytime I get to put my fist in Defarge's mouth, right? That's a good day. That's a good day. Don't much prefer getting Crummels' boots in my face, as is wont to happen. So. But you know, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Not at all.
Not as fun.
Yeah, singles wrestling's okay. I like getting in there and just like seeing what I can do. But yeah, I like getting in there, getting in there with a bunch of folks. Not scramble matches. Scramble matches can kick rocks. Don't book me for scramble matches. You ask to book me for a scramble match, I'm going to say no these days. It's just a bit.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of people just seeing how far they can pee. I don't like
it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's good. So now that we got to know Razerwyng, we would like to get to know your opinion. And I know
I got
Ralph
plenty of
told
those.
you- I know Ralph told you our top 5 this week for you was top 5 high-flying wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have your top 5 ready, we'd love to hear your number 5.
Yeah, sure. Well, goodness. Oh, no. Oh, I didn't do them in any particular order.
That,
Okay.
I was
That's
just going
okay.
to ask you that. Yeah.
All right.
All right, that's fine. I was talking to my wife earlier about this. I was like, so I'm supposed to do a top 5 wrestlers thing, right? My top 5 high flyers, I think, is what you said.
Yep,
And I was like, I didn't think about this at all. And I'm like, okay, who do we got? I mean, there's the obvious choice, and then there's the second obvious choice, and then there's this one, and then there's this one. And I think there's this one, right? So
we'll just do
all right.
5 in no order, but we'll just start with your number 5. That's all.
We'll do 5 in no order, right? All right,
Yep,
all right.
no order.
So, do you just want me to rattle them off, or do you want me to say them and give a little something?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about
it. Something. Let's talk about your picks and let's go through it.
Here we go. Number 5,
right.
Sabu.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
All right.
Starting off strong.
Homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, Sabu. Yeah, I would consider Sabu a high flyer. Very much so. Dude just went after it. Got out there, just did some crazy stuff, and was just very unapologetic about it. And if he messed up, he was like, all right, let's just go for it again. And that, very much that sort of to the wall personality is what I not molded myself after, but definitely tried to take into consideration when I was out there, when I am out there. It's like, we're going to go out there, we're going to do some crazy stuff. I'm going to do some crazy stuff. And if it goes awry, it goes awry. I'm just going to pick up the pieces and we're just going to go. I remember watching, it was Sabu against, who was it against? I used to have the DVD. But anyway, it was a barbed wire match. And he went for Air Sabu in the corner and caught his bicep on the barbed wire. And it just split wide open. And it was just pouring buckets out his tricep, actually. And Sabu's sitting there with duct tape, taping up his arm as the other person is sitting there doing moves, grabbed Sabu in a neck breaker, and Sabu's sitting there just taping up his arm, takes it, and is like, oh, God, my neck. Grabs the tape and is just continuing to wrap this. And he's just like, I'm not stopping. And that's kind of how I – what's that?
Said he just had no fear.
Yeah, he had no fear. None at all. I remember one of my probably my first real bad injury. My first real bad injury was King of Trios 2017. I did a tope con hilo to Cassandra Miyagi and knocked her out. As I knocked her out, came down, back of my head, pinged right off of the concrete floor.
Ooh.
That's 8 feet in the air, boom, straight to the concrete floor. And I hit, and I was like, oh no, that's bad. That's real bad. My wife's sitting 20 feet over to the right of hard cam. And she's like, that didn't look good, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm laying there. I'm like, okay, all right. Can I move? System check. Fingers, toes. Okay, that can move. All right, getting up, and everything's just flowing through water. A brawl breaks out on the outside. Satomura comes over, just hit me with some euros. I'm throwing the weakest punches, I'm in a dream, right? It's Dreamtown. Boom. Oh no, right? Because of course, You're in sleep paralysis. You're not moving very well, right? But I'm sitting there and I'm out. But I kept going because I'm A, stupid and young and new, but B, it's that like never say die attitude of like, no, I'm seeing this through to the end, right? And I did, for better or for worse. That happened again in a match against Joe Gacy and Slade at Dropkick. That was a 3-way dance, and I was doing another tope con hilo, and I had a hot pepper up my butt, and I was getting ready to go into the crowd, and I saw the people in the seats were not moving, and I was like, I don't want to cause a lawsuit for Dropkick. I don't want to cause a lawsuit for the venue by going into the crowd and kicking a fan in the face. Not what I want to do. So I put on the brakes real hard, and I went straight up and straight down, caught the back of my head on the ring apron and then the floor.
Oh, no.
And once again, like an idiot, like a young idiot, kept going. I was like, boom, hit, and I was like, oh no, all right, oh, okay. Where am I? Yes, I know where I'm at. I know what I'm doing. Let's go. And I just kept going. Ill-advised. Looking back on it, I had a conversation with one of my pals later on, and I was just like, no, it's not worth it. Like, it's not worth the brain stuff is not worth it. Right. Mm-hmm. There was a match I had a Dropkick where it was I think it was an Atomicos match, or it might have been it was a scramble. It was the scramble with me and Beefcake and Super Beetle, and I think Twitch was in it, a whole bunch of people. Anyway, I went and I did an Undertaker dive over the top rope, right? Came down and like was getting ready to just like push Beefcake out of the way. And this hand, I caught this finger on Beefcake's chest, and it just went.
Oh.
My right pinky just went sideways. He catches me, and I'm like, oh no. And I grab my pinky and I go, click, right back in.
Oh, God.
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
Right back in. I was just like, oh no, click.
I'm good.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like trying to pound on him to like get him off of me. And I'm like, ow, right? Every time my right hand comes down on him. And I get back in there. And, Mike Orridge was in there too, one of Cannonball's friends. And I wound up actually pinning Orridge. I did the handspring against the ropes like Tajiri, came back with the kick like I do. I did the handspring with a broken pinky. Oh, it was nasty. Man. It was so nasty. And then, goodness, there was, me breaking my orbital bone at Beyond. I break my orbital bone at Beyond in a 4-way tag match. It was the Air Show against Bear Country, against Miracle Generation, against, I always forget their name. Oh, my goodness, they're such a good team, too. I feel really bad. They're another like high flying sort of team, just like Miracle Generation, but like, goodness. Anyway, it's a 4-way tag match. Anyway, Mach 10 and I are like, yo, if we get him down in this match, what do you think? Stereo 450s? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Out of the corners, opposite corners. Mach 10's up, I'm up. We got Boulder down. We got Bronson down. We flip. Boom. I over-rotate, come down, Matt fist face.
Oh, no.
Completely broke out my left eye.
Oh.
Just bottom of the orbital bone socket. Not the outside of it, right? Underneath the eyeball, just like a trap door just fell out. My eye was like, boop. Immediately I knew I messed up, covered Bronson. He kicks out. I rolled to the outside. I'm checking my face thinking, oh man, oh no, I messed up. I just Joey Mercury'd myself. Oh, like with the ladder, right?
Yep.
I'm expecting it just to be pouring. It felt gnarly. And I'm sitting there and I'm feeling my face and I'm looking at my hands. I'm like, there's no blood. Why is there no blood? Why is there no blood? There feels like there should be blood. And this stupid bird brain goes, there's no blood. I'm getting back in.
Oh God.
So I get back in, can barely see. Everything's blurry. I tell the referee, hey, I'm hurt. Just, be on the lookout for some crazy stuff. And he's like, okay. And of course, no one can see how bad I'm hurt because I'm wearing a full mask.
Yep.
I tell Mach 10, I'm like, hey, I'm hurt. I did something to my eye. And he's like, can you see? I'm like, kinda. And he goes, what the And I'm like, let's just go, man. And he goes, okay. So afterwards, we eat it, right? So Miracle Generation kicks me in the face. Boom. They take my tag partner. Suplex, combo splash off the top rope. 1, 2, 3. We're down. We're out. We get to the back. I take my mask off. My eyes popped out like Vader after Stan Hansen lariated him in the face.
Oh God.
It's real bad. It's real bad. Mach 10's like, if I knew your face looked like that, I would not have let you continue. This is insane. We gotta get you somewhere. And I'm like, I felt bad about it for a variety of oh man, I toughed it out. I went through it, right? But man, why did I have to be wearing a mask? If I wasn't wearing a mask and everyone could see my eye bulged out like that and all purple and gross, oh, that would have been all wrestling Twitter would have been talking about. Man, that Razerwyng, you see, just like what's his name? Oh my goodness. His Red and Black, Heavy Metal, the scar on the lip. Oh my goodness, I know this guy, and I'm just drawing a blank. See, don't get concussions. This happens to you. Oh no, but the one fellow who wrestles out in the Midwest, he had the turnbuckle ripped out of his lip, and he finished the match. It was him against Gary J. Oh my goodness, he was on AEW for a bit. The heavy metal guy with the face paint and all that.
Warhorse?
Warhorse, Jake Parnell, yes.
Got it.
Oh my God.
Got it.
Like when that
Circle
happened.
gets the square.
There it is. Yes. Oh, I feel. I'm sorry, Jake. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, anyway. Warhorse. I'm sorry. Concussions.
So,
anyway,
yeah,
like everyone was talking about Warhorse, like with the whole ripped out of the thing, and it's like, yo, if I had just had no mask on and everyone saw this just gnarly, oh, let's go, I'll kill you anyway. That would have been it. But no, I had to wear a mask and then went to the hospital the next day, and thankfully everything's good. I mean, my eye is a little bit lower than it used to be, just because it's only held in by muscle and fat. But it is what it is. It healed up nicely. I can see okay. Everything's good. We made a little something out of it in Dropkick with Brandon Kirk with the chain and the Hellraiser mask and all that. So that was good.
Yeah.
One last one real quick before I go on to the next wrestler.
No worries.
Cracked ribs at LVAC. Oh, I got a nice slam by Havoc. Right?
Oh,
yeah, we're in there. It's me, Ultimo Ant against Havoc and Young Jay Lee. We're in there. Boom. Havoc grabs me. Just big old slam on this stiff old ring. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, I can't breathe. Managed to tag out to Ultimo. Ultimo comes in. I'm sitting there sucking wind on the apron. Some joker on the outside, literally 3 feet away from me, is like, man, some tag partner you are, letting your buddy get in there. And I was like, I am not in the mood to have an argument with you right now. I have broken ribs. You can flip right off, my friend.
I'm broken.
Right? Literally laying there, broken ribs. But then I was like, you know what? it's time to get in there. Whole bunch of action spilled to the outside, and I was like, I'm going to do what Razerwyng does. And I climbed up to the top rope, flipping dive off of the top rope right onto the pile with broken ribs because Sabu. Because Sabu. Basically. So, yeah, that's my Sabu story.
Yeah, Sabu's one of those guys that I feel wrestles what I'd like to call a shoot first, ask questions later style of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
You know, he goes out there and he does things that nobody else will do, and it's like he doesn't even think about it. He just goes out there and does it. And win or lose, success or failure, he just goes out there and puts it all on the line.
Very much so. Very much so.
Very cool
So,
pick.
Number 4?
With your next one.
Yeah, let's do it.
The whole effing show, Rob Van Dam.
Oh, of course. Like, come on.
Got to be on the list. Yeah.
He has to be on the list.
No
The
doubt.
five-star
No
frog
doubt.
splash is literally one of the most brutal-looking frog splashes I've ever seen.
Oh,
The way he
100%.
bounces off of the wrestler after he lands.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Just puts all of his weight into it. Just
All the effort.
every bit of his being just jumps as high as he can, gets up there, really pumps it, like puts that little like just out, and he's just completely spread out and just lands, and it's just like, oh yeah, no wonder that also hurt RVD. Like, goodness gracious. Like, the 5-star frog splash is one of my favorite moves ever. I love it. Just everything about RVD, like his whole, like JR would say, educated feet, his unorthodox style. He's just like, he just did so much cool stuff. His whole jump into the top rope bit to get up for the 5-star frog splash. His
So smooth.
split-legged moonsault. His whole rolling senton. Just every little thing that he did. The kicks. All of it. It was like, yo, this guy's something else. Like, this guy wrestles like no one I've ever seen up until that point. And it was just like, yeah, like that's just, man, I was so pulling for RVD when he was feuding with Triple H back in like the early 2000s. That was like, I was like, yes, please take this World Heavyweight Championship off of this man. Please. Then didn't happen. Right. But hey, he got the ECW and the WWE title, however short-lived that was. So that's cool.
I was just gonna say, did you watch that match? Because that's one of my favorite RVD matches, probably ever.
I watch it all the time. Like, I have it on DVD, and I just run it back all the time because I'm not the biggest John Cena fan, but I mean, everybody played their part
one-night
perfectly.
stand, that was right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the second one-night stand because he was injured for the first one.
That's right. I remember that. He was like.
Yeah, so he got his big moment at the second one, and man, was that a moment.
Yeah, he tore his meniscus on the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It was like what, maybe a month before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was insane.
Second one night stand was amazing. My goodness.
So
I mean, first one was good too, but like, holy moly, I'm gonna have to cue those up. That's gonna be after Forbidden Door.
There you go.
The thing I like about Rob Van Dam and, you know, him being on the list, he's one of those guys that is a high flyer, not only in the air, but his ground game is high flying as well. When you watch his moveset, like everything about him in the air, on the ground, it's just this style of wrestling that everything he does is like a high flying move.
Nobody gets high like Rob Van Dam.
No,
that is correct.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Good call.
Aha.
So, number 3?
Yes, yeah, let's do it.
Hit it up.
Cool. Number 3? Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy.
Good call.
The charismatic enigma.
Yeah, like I mean, I do the Swanton Bomb, right? Like I can't not say Jeff Hardy. Like, Jeff Hardy is the reason I'm a high flyer. Honestly, like, just when I was backyarding, I was wearing the fishnet, I was wearing the baggy pants, I was doing the whole thing, like the guns and all that. Yeah, Jeff Hardy just was it. Like, that was that was my holy moly. Like, this is what wrestling can be? Okay, let's go. Let's flip and go. And I finally, like, I had this is my, like, Jeff Hardy moment when I was wrestling Cecil Nix and Connor Claxton at ISW. And I laid Cecil out on the table. And I was like, this is it. I'm Jeff Hardy, and he's Bubba Ray. And here we go.
Oh.
I climbed up the ladder, and I went for it. And then I ate it through the table because Cecil moved out of the way. But, like, hey, I still kind of had my Jeff Hardy moment because he's eating it through tables. Like, whatever. So
times.
it still worked out. But yeah, Jeff Hardy, big influence. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention how Jeff Hardy ripped me off one time. Yes, indeed. There was a match in Chikara. It was a 4-way eliminator, I believe. It was myself and Nighthawk against the Creatures of the Deep, Crab and Crawdad, against the Rumblebees. And I'm pretty sure the other team might have been Dustin and Chuck Taylor TM. Maybe.
Okay.
But there was a point in time where I went up to the top rope, and I was getting ready to do some hot moves. And the Cajun Crawdad ran at me and yelled, "I hate you, bird!" And he kicked me with an enziguri right in the back of the noggin. And I fell off of the top rope, and I ate it right on the apron and fell to the outside. Wouldn't you know it, about a week or two later, that same sort of thing happened to Jeff Hardy. Strange that. Just a weird coincidence, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep, weird coincidence. Ha.
Indeed.
No, I'm sure it was a weird coincidence. I'm just putting it.
Well, you want to talk about long-term storytelling. Dustin and Chuck Taylor TM is very underrated as far as long-term storytelling goes. You know, I have never been more entertained in my life than to see This Is How We Do It come down to the ring.
Oh yes, this is how we do it.
Do it.
Bug Nevins, Scoot Tatum, all of them, all the great names.
He came out as Trent Beretta one time.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Did. Yeah,
Trent
good
Beretta.
stuff. I like the Jeff Hardy pick because, you know, Jeff Hardy did two things. He took dangerous moves and he made them look easy, but he also took those moves and made them the coolest thing going.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's some of the lasting impressions that we see from a guy like Jeff Hardy, just, you know, taking the dangerous and the impossible and the things that people normally wouldn't do, but just making it like the coolest thing in the room.
Oh, no doubt. No
I
doubt.
think what I appreciate about Jeff, and I don't know if you were watching Jeff when he was in TNA, but
Oh yes, yes I was.
When he decided to use his own music as his theme song, that was, for me, that was it. I'm like, I'm good. I'm happy now. Not only is he being Jeff Hardy, but he's being Jeff Hardy as himself with his own music, but also being, you know, the high flying, crazy Jeff that he always was. It was just another layer to his character that I just really enjoyed. On top of the high flying antics that he did, was that he was able to use his own music for a while as his themes to the ring, and he would use multiple versions, multiple songs throughout his year that he was there. It was always a different version from an album somewhere, and it was just cool.
Yeah, he's always been unapologetically Jeff, and that, as far as I'm aware, like I've never met the person, but like seemingly always has been unapologetically Jeff, and for all his faults, like I appreciate that part of his presentation as a wrestler, and that's like, for me, that's just chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Yes, absolutely. All right.
Indeed.
What else you got for us? Yep.
Number 2.
AJ Styles.
Of the Phenomena one. I mean, come on.
Like, okay, so here's the reason. TNA, Ultimate X.
Oh, I mean,
AJ Styles was just always doing just ridiculous things in Ultimate X.
Craziest things, yeah.
Yes, doing the craziest moves, taking the craziest moves, getting up afterward, and just everything was smooth as silk. And I wish that I were as smooth as silk as AJ Styles, but at least it gives me something to still aspire to as a thing. But goodness gracious, like just all of the really cool moves that he did and all of the cool feuds that he had, like his battles with Samoa Joe and I tell you what, the triple threat between him and Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels at Unbreakable 2005, easily one of my favorite matches of all time. AJ's just, oh my goodness, the springboard shooting star press to the outside, oh, the Fosbury flop, all of it. I'm not going to say he has like influenced my wrestling style, because a lot of the stuff that he does, I look at it and I go, oh, there's absolutely no way. But as far as like a wrestler that I enjoy watching, yeah, let's go. Give me some AJ.
So when TNA used to run house shows close to pay-per-views, they would run the actual main event of the pay-per-view. They would practice it on the house shows, and I saw AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels in a 3-way at a house show.
That's so cool. Oh, that's so cool.
That was one of the seriously. Lucky that was Ducky. One of the best shows I ever went to. And you had 3 guys in the ring who obviously, for those of us that like that kind of style of wrestling, I mean, we consider these guys to be legends. We consider these guys to be, people that we would put up there in the top pantheon. And, AJ Styles, you could see it then. You knew that the sky was the limit for him, because he was just such a star. Like, you're in there with guys like Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe, and you're still shining bright. So there was definitely something there. But it's hilarious that you bring that match up, just the irony of it, because it was a match that was unbelievable, and just getting to see that live, even if it wasn't on the pay-per-view. But just a huge star in everything he does.
100%.
It doesn't matter what he's doing. I mean, there's a reason he was in the Boneyard match with The Undertaker. Mm-hmm. There's a reason, you don't get honors like that unless you're the top. So very, very cool pick.
And you want to talk about like honor. I'm sure Styles was honored when, going back to your last pick, Razor, he got to be in the ring with and witness Jeff Hardy's debut in TNA in 2005.
Yeah.
And be a part of that, not only the debut, but like being in the ring with him. I think his first match back in a while, because he had just left WWF not too long ago before he went out there, and he made it seem like he was going to go like recover and rehab. Nope. TNA. Boom. 2005. That was his big surprise.
Indeed.
And he got to do it with AJ Styles himself. So like really cool.
Yeah, it was a cool moment. No doubt.
And another King of Trios alumni.
Yeah. Indeed.
Stupid
lucha ropes.
Oh,
I was such a great moment. It's still my favorite video to watch, even just randomly, is just to watch him try twice and fail. He goes, "It's the ropes! It's the ropes!
It's the lucha ropes!" I love that was an ongoing narrative. Oh my goodness. So good.
Yeah. And then the ovation when he finally
hit it, it was like nuts.
Yeah, it was great.
No doubt. Absolutely. Real quick, I just want to mention my favorite part of that triple threat match.
Yeah.
AJ Styles and Samoa Joe just teeing off on Christopher Daniels. Just kick. Daniels gets sick of it, gets up, stop, kick.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones that you just have to laugh at.
Just pretty much.
Funny moment in time. I just love wrestling as a whole.
Yeah. Oh, totally. So number one.
Here we go. Last one on the list.
Rey Mysterio. Of
I
Oh,
mean, of
why,
course.
That's
well,
like
Come
that's a
on.
gimme. It's a gimme. It's
That
a
was
oh,
gimme.
man.
That was a
The
layup. That was a
the
layup.
greatest of all time. Like, how are you gonna have a list of high flyers and have your number one not be Rey Mysterio? Like, there are some that I like. There are plenty of high flyers that deserve the number one spot. Hayabusa, right? Uh, uh, some would argue Psychosis. There's plenty of them, but
I'm
like
surprised you didn't
for
say
me as
Jimmy Snuka.
Jimmy Snuka,
I mean,
I
he
got
was
feelings
kind
about
of a high
Jimmy
flyer
Snuka.
before high flyers were cool back then. You know
That's
what I'm saying?
true. That's true. All right. Yes, on the merit, absolutely, no doubt. But like everyone has their personal list, right? So
Of
my
course.
personal list: Rey Mysterio, boom, number one. Just because he showed that, like, he showed the North American audience this whole new way of wrestling, and like really made it mainstream. It was like, yo, high flying lucha is freaking cool. But he also was like, hey, little guys can beat the big guys and make it be convincing. Like, it can
Yeah.
happen. David and Goliath can actually happen, and it can look real. And that's something that we owe a debt of gratitude to Rey Mysterio Jr. for.
Yeah.
Like, it just from watching him in WCW to watching him in ECW to watching him in WWE, like, it just dude's been great for so long, and he continues to be great. Like, I don't even know, like, I should ask ChatGPT like how old Rey Mysterio is these days, but it's like, dude's older than I am, and like, he's getting after it, and it's amazing. And like, I'm feeling like, holy moly, like, how many years do I still have left? And Rey Mysterio is just like, what are years?
Mm.
The dude's
It's
been going
great.
for over 30, I think almost 30 years now, if not over
That's how
30
long,
years of
huh?
wrestling. Like,
That's incredible.
it's a
Holy
long
moly.
career, man. And he's still going I think he's now 50, 51, and he still
51?
goes like he's in his
Crazy.
like 30s. It's crazy. It's
That's
nuts.
incredible. Oh,
Nuts.
good for him. Good for him. That's
And
so great.
he's had a lot of great moments, but honestly, my favorite moment of his, just because I feel like the excitement level was just off the charts and could not be matched. When he debuted in WWE, when he was booking down to the ring and climbed the steel cage and jumped off to save John
Yes.
Cena and Edge,
Yeah.
the excitement level that surrounded that moment, like I was literally freaking out because it was so. It was just, I don't know, it was just so exciting to see him do that.
It was surreal too, right? It was just like, oh wow,
Yeah.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio in WWE. This is cool. This is where we're going. Let's go. And then as a part of the SmackDown 6, holy
Oh
moly,
yeah, of course. He was he was one of the top.
that was easily my
he was
favorite.
treated as a top guy, which
Oh, he was.
rightfully so. Rightfully
Was.
so.
He deserved every bit of that. Oh my goodness.
We'll never see a time in wrestling like that again, because it was like the stars aligned and you found six guys that somehow had chemistry with each other that they probably shouldn't have had.
Yeah.
But they were just so good together.
They were just all incredibly different in a lot of ways. But they all had that chemistry, and it was just like, okay, you put this person with this person, you get this kind of match. You put this person with this person, you get this. It was like rock, paper, scissors, but like with six things instead.
Yeah.
It was just incredible. It was so flippin' fun to just like watch that week after week after week, and then pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. And it was just like, yo, can wrestling get any better? And the answer was no. No, it could not.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Rey Mysterio thing was, which I'm still kind of sad that they did away with it, but because at the time it was so like new and like fresh, was when he would pop out from under the stage and jump.
Oh, the
up,
elevator. Yeah, that thing.
The pyro. For the time,
Who's
it was
that
like
jumping out the
it
sky?
was so
R-E-Y.
new. Yeah, dude. The theme, the timing, it was just so cool. And then when they stopped doing it, I was like, now I'm sad.
No.
Because that was what made, like, his entrance was just like so cool to me, because it was, again, for the time, no one was doing that. No one was popping out of the elevators. No one was like hiding and jumping. That was a totally new thing that like they gave Rey Mysterio.
Totally.
Like it was just a cool little, something to add to his high flying stature already, and just make it cooler.
See, you totally had me going there when you said that. I thought you were going to say the ladder match for the custody of Dominic.
Well, that too.
I mean, how could you not have that guy
that
number
one
on your list? He wrestled a ladder match for the custody of his own son, who he now regularly beats the snot out of.
Yep.
Right?
You know, I mean, do you think he's thinking to him? Do you think he's thinking to himself now, gee, I wish Eddie would have won? This kid's a brat.
God.
Seriously. Oh my goodness. I couldn't imagine it. My little boy's getting real big. He's going to turn 2 in September, and I'm like, oh no, this kid's going to be slamming me. Big boy.
Yeah.
I don't know how Ray does it. Like having a kid that's like that much bigger than him. I'm nervous.
Yeah. Well, this has been an absolute blast, I have to say. When we first started doing this podcast, I thought to myself, I've got to make some calls, and I've got to, reach out to some people that I've, had some history with over the years, and you were at the top of the list. We had a couple guys that were right up there at the top that I was like, these are guys I've got to have. So you were absolutely at the top of that list.
Thank you.
I mean, how could I not have not only, the flyest wrestler out there, but the man with the flyest fanny pack out there?
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. Yeah. Although my fanny pack is not gold these days. I have a black nylon one because the gold ones were always falling apart. They were cheap things off of Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, look,
but thank you.
Mick Foley could have claimed that he was bringing fanny packs back, but your fanny pack game was strong the whole time. Like you were, yeah.
Appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but I was excited that we could find the time to do this and get you on. It's been a real fun time just getting to talk wrestling with you, and getting to learn a few things about you, and letting our listeners get to know a little bit about the man behind the mask, as it were. So I gotta thank you for joining us, and it's just been a blast talking to you, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, very cool. So again, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you. Good call.
Thanks for listening to the Opinion City Podcast with myself and Parmesan. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our social at Opinion City Pod to your friends and colleagues, and please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Be sure to check out our previous episodes and let us know your opinions on our previous topics as well as this week's topic. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and maybe Threads at Opinion City Pod. This has been a Mancast Network production. We'll see you next time.
This is Ultimo Man here. You're listening to Opinion City Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.